And my name's Jason, and this is my colleague Sarah. This is the Posture Podcast. Posture is a boutique go-to-market strategy and competitive analysis firm. We work with our clients to bring new products to market, but to also understand the market context in which they're doing business. Call us or look at us at posture.consulting. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about um, how it is that you can plan and do new go-to-market tactics by learning from other industries or learning from other companies that you've been watching or paying attention to in the market. There's a lot of things that you see that are heavily segmented by industry, common tactics around pricing, common message callouts and positioning strategies that you don't often see cross into new industries or into new contexts. So one of the things that we do when we're sitting down with a client and designing a new project, or it could be a go-to-market strategy, it could be a competitive analysis strategy, is we'll try and get a sense of what it is that they want, what they're trying to achieve, what their KPIs are, goals, and all of those standard things. And then as a team, we'll go back and we'll brainstorm about how it is that we're going to accomplish it. And one of the most common things to come up with is that one of them, most often Sarah, will say, hey, do you remember that project we worked on? Or do you remember that campaign we worked on in which we did this type of analysis or we took this approach? Can we try that here? And then as a team, we will try and, again, just problem solve and figure out, is that something that is a perfect template for us to take and stamp onto this particular industry, this particular company, this particular campaign? And if it is, what nuance do we have to give to it? It's a great way of starting a project. It's a great way of orienting yourself to strategies that you know will work and just making sure that it works for you. So Sarah's done a lot of prep around this, and she's going to reflect on her experiences and best practices that she's learned. For those of you who are product or marketing leaders, this is a great way of framing and structuring your team as they start out on what could be a very nebulous, confusing, or frustrating experience, certainly one that may seem bigger at first than it is at the end. So these simple steps are something that you can implement with your senior leaders or your go-to-market or product marketers and help them with that. For those of us in the audience who are product marketers, again, tactics. These are things that you can use today. These are ways in which you can build your tool chest and you can go and apply things and really advance your career by showing your leadership, by showing the market the strength of your thinking and the strength of your strategies. If you've watched us before, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. If you are just joining us for the first time, by the end of this episode, your heart is going to be filled with joy and your brain is going to be filled with new and great ideas. So be prepared to subscribe, share, and like. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah for a quick moment of marketing side-eye. You got any side-eye for us? Sarah, what is the thing that drives you crazy?
We need a sound effect for the side-eye so that we can.
You don't like mine? Side-eye.
I think we've already talked about this. We need a sound effect and not that one.
Maybe we could find a sound engineer and make them turn that sound effect into something amazing. That would be like, so it's like continuity of authenticity. I think that's one of the things that we often talk about in messaging and positioning. Bring what you have to the table. Don't distract people or gaslight them from who you actually are. That's what marketing side-eye. That's what marketing side-eye is. Anyway, Sarah, what's driving you crazy this week?
I guess relating to this topic, my marketing side-eye is when it doesn't work, when you can't translate or use a tactic or strategy, or when you do, it's not honest, it's inauthentic and annoying, and then it feels like kind of like tricky. So a good example would be people who are trying to sell courses. When they have a commercial, they present it as if it's a scientific study or all this data, and they really speak to a problem or something personal that you feel very strongly about, and they talk about your uh, brain, how your brain responds, or all these this data to point to people being unhappy, or finding the job that fits you, or all these kinds of things. But at the end of this long infomercial, where they're talking about these things that matter to you, and using science, it ends with selling you a course to teach you how to be happy, or or selling you some kind of magic pills that all this science about all this food, and what's really good for you, and what you need or don't need. I have a pill that will help you with all of that. That's my marketing side. Taking just the authority of the science journalist community and transferring it onto selling a BS product.
I love that. I actually do. I don't love the tactic, but I love the example. It's like the modern day snake oil salesperson. I'm like,
Yes.
I am not. I am like Dr. Jason Cooter, MD, PhD, the third junior, and I'd like to sell you a course on product marketing. Even though I have absolutely, oh, I hate this analogy I'm giving because it suggests to you that I have no authority in the market. Anyways, the point is, it's like, yeah, standing up, claiming things that are not actually true about you,
Yeah.
and selling a product that's completely unrelated. I like that.
Or not just
Posture does
completely
sell
unrelated.
products and consulting experiences, so please follow us, like us, and share.
Not also unrelated. It's related, but it's tricking you. Like it's saying, it's speaking to something that all these, it's having the authority and speaking as if you have the authority without any you don't work for you just assume the authority, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see that a lot in blog posts. Some of these kind of clickbait blog posts and things like that as well,
Mm-hmm.
where it may be a direct hit for what that company does in the B2B context, especially. Maybe it's the industry that company is in, but has nothing to do with it. And we've talked a lot about AI and how this works, and like the false claims that a lot of companies or something will make around that to
Mm-hmm.
increase the value prop. They may have absolutely nothing to do, have no case studies that actually point to the blog or the story that they're telling. And I think that's just ends up being an empty sales pitch, because once the person gets engaged and then starts to learn who the expert is, or starts to learn who the product is, what the product is, they're not gonna stick around. They're gonna be interested in the topic and perhaps go very quickly to a company that does do that. Hopefully, they actually go very quickly to a company that does do that. The reality is, your time and the time of the people that you're reaching out to is much better spent if you're speaking from a place of authority and authenticity about what it is you're doing, who you are, your product, and those kinds of things, so that you're actually attracting the right buyer, and that you have a recurring revenue stream.
Yeah.
They came because they believed in what you were saying. They got the thing. It worked. They're coming back to buy more of the thing because they used it all up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I mean, I think the example you're giving, Sarah, is just like, I tried it. It was, a piece of crap pill. It does nothing. I'm never buying that again. And all that snake oil salesperson is getting is a quick hit. And that's not cool.
Yeah.
That's no cool. So
No.
that's your marketing side eye, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. You seem angry about it.
Because they'll trap me, and I'll spend all this
Yeah.
time watching this infomercial, and I'm like, oh, I should just go watch TED Talks and not the infomercials. That's what I'm saying.
They're quoting TED Talks anyways.
Like, I want to know about this interesting science. Oh, you're trying to sell me something.
That's right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now is the topic that we've all been waiting to hear about. The question is, can you take examples from go-to-market strategies or tactics from other industries and apply them to your own industry, your own company, or your own product set, and your own go-to-market strategy? And the question is, which tactics could fit for you? How do you evaluate that? But also, when you bring it over, are there nuances that you bring to the table? What should you pay attention? It's often not a copy paste kind of example, is it, Sarah?
No, it is not. Definitely not.
So you're going to take us through some examples of where the lessons could be learned, and then the steps that you take when you're thinking through that exact kind of opportunity, when you're brainstorming. What are the 5 things that you do?
Right. So what I think is one of the most important things is just being able to spot the tactic, and I mean it starts with the extraction of the strategy and not the execution. And to do this successfully, you need to look past the execution and focus on why something works. A transferable tactic is never a surface level move. It's the actual mechanism underneath of it. And when you see a campaign, a feature, or growth play that's working, your first job is not to ask, could I do this? Your job is to ask, what problem is this actually solving? And the framework I use is very simple, just the general framework. My execution, like what it is that I'm seeing, strategy, why is this working, and the psychology, who is it working on? And once you train yourself to separate strategy from execution and apply it to your audience, every industry becomes a springboard. Like you can bounce off of any successful messaging tactic and be able to apply it to your needs. So like a referral program is not about discounts. It's about social proof. Case studies are not about results. They're about making the buyer's decision feel safer. Personal branding is not about being seen. It's about being remembered, for one thing. And this is where pattern recognition comes in. And because the same strategies show up everywhere, just wearing different clothes. And here are some examples of some of the ways we've transferred some tactics and strategies from one industry we've worked with to another. I guess the first one would be hospitality and onboarding. Like hospitality, you are just on this fancy riverboat cruise, right? How is your hospitality?
My hospitality. It made me want to onboard, literally. Wow, we did not actually plan that, and I wish we had, because we would have. That's fantastic.
Like that work out.
That's fantastic. Well, no, I mean it is. I think it's no. I think the framework makes so much sense, because obviously, you're not providing. Well, I guess if you have Airbnb or like VRBO or one of these websites, then it's really about hospitality. But I think so I did actually, and this is not too forced now. Thank you, Sarah. That recently went on a riverboat cruise, which is just an awesome experience if you ever have the chance to do it, and you certainly know so if you've done it. But you're in a lot of different countries, a lot of different places non-stop, and so the experience is not just like walking into a hotel for the first time and kind of looking for the front desk and the elevator. A lot of times it's like, hey, if you're going here, this is exactly how you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And they have a readily available staff in all sorts of different ways that are there paying attention to you, personalizing your experience as you go. And so that's a really good analogy. I'm glad you called that out, Sarah, because when you go to a product you're not experienced with, particularly if it's something that you haven't solved before, maybe you're looking for a new widget that you've been using, project management tool or something like that, Gantt charter that you've been using before. And so this is the newer, better version of that. But if it's something new that you're not, maybe a new type of AI, agentic AI or something like that, that's emerging, or a new product category that's something that you're not familiar with or you've ever used, think about that first time experience. It's like a foreign language. Mm-hmm. You hope that someone's there who can explain this to you in plain English. In my case, I needed plain English, none of that highfalutin English. And really signposts where it is you're supposed to go, how you're supposed to do it, when you're supposed to do it, and has a progressive reveal of features so that you're not overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And that example is perfect for the hospitality experience, regardless of whether you're walking into, a local place where you're staying overnight because your water's out, or some fancy lifetime, been saving up for it for years kind of a trip. You want to know where you're going. You want to be welcomed and you want to feel good. And I think that kind of hospitality mindset, often adopted in customer service in the tech industry, can be adopted into the onboarding experience. So I really like that analogy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't forced at all. I mean, the idea of onboarding and hospitality in a boat, I mean, that's awesome. We should move on.
and again, like calling to an actual need. So it's not about getting the towels when you need it. It's about getting your needs met, having things flow easily. Those are when you break everything down. That's the core of what can be transferred from the hospitality to the onboarding. So,
Love that.
yeah,
that's awesome.
Do you have any other examples? I mean, I have another example.
Oh, let's hear it. If you have does it involve boats?
No, it doesn't.
Maybe airplanes and onboarding.
Trains.
Oh.
So I guess another example would be what can retail teach AI startups, especially when it comes to price messaging, because that's
a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot of retail pricing and their messaging around that could be super easy, like buy one get one, all that, like those quick little sayings that you always hear with the little signs. I'm getting in my head pictures of little like emojis with like buy one get one or on sale, stuff like that, versus like AI startups using credits and units and compute units and all kinds of just like crazy language that's different from product to product, and you're not sure what you're getting by using what, and that becomes incredibly confusing. So
yeah, I think that's a really solid point. And you just don't, I mean, like you think about like walking through I don't know, walking down the street and you see a billboard or some kind of a sign in a window that says, hey, get this half off or 50% off. And it's really clear, especially if it's a product,
mm-hmm.
like a retail product. At this point, I used to work in the language learning industry, and some people, when we started to come out with digital apps and stuff like that, they didn't really know what you were getting. But over time, a common product has become a language learning product. Thank you, Duolingo and Rosetta Stone. Like, what you're getting when you get that. And so when they say what the pricing is, $99.99 a month, or $210 for a lifetime, or it's completely free forever.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. I understand what that is because I know what the product is. It makes sense to me. The mechanics of it. I learn Spanish. I buy a Spanish product. I learn more Spanish, even better. Get it. So it works for physical goods. It works for digital products in which there's a clear SaaS expectation and people know what that thing is. We know what, a photo editing suite is. That's traditional, like a Photoshop. What we've done a lot of work in lately is pricing strategy around like AI products, as Sarah kind of mentioned. So you may know what a photo editing tool like Photoshop is, and SaaS-based pricing. I know what I'm getting with that. I can edit the photos. It's really high quality, HDD or whatever. And it's going to be, $60 a month or $70 a month. When you look at a Gen AI product, it becomes really complicated really fast. And I don't exactly understand what my outputs are because I've lost a sense of control around what that output is. If I go to a Midjourney or if I go to a ChatGPT and I'm asking it to generate a picture, it's not like I can copy, select, color grade, and all those things, filter out all these things that I can do in a traditional editor, nonlinear video editor or photo editor. Can't do that. It is what I get. So the question is like, what is a $300,000 credits or 10 tokens, and none of them are priced the same.
No, none of them.
It's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, each
And
model is
I will
different that they're
place
using in the AI app is different too.
it's
So yeah,
oh, I know. You have like these Gen AI or video editors where it's like an aggregate. So maybe they're using Nano Banana, maybe they're using Firefly, maybe they're using a bunch of other stuff in between, Runway and stuff like that. And so if you click on a particular feature, it's going to charge you a different rate.
yeah.
Is there any transparency? All of which do not match each other. It's not like you suddenly say, hey, that's 20 tokens. Oh, no, that's going to be 500 tokens. No, that's going to be 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly we were talking about tokens. So maybe this is my marketing side eye.
I was about to say, like,
when it comes to
this is giving the vibe of marketing side eye. Like, I hate it.
Waste of time. These idiots. No, but in terms of signals, no. So the reason I say this is because if you're adopting a SaaS-based model, or what we would traditionally think of as like a Best Buy kind of Walmart, Target retail model pricing, people get it. It's transparent. It's well adopted. You're not modifying it and doing something weird. And when you're asking them to change the way they frame their understanding of a particular task, like, hey, we're going to do it all for you, and then all you have to do is approve it. Introducing strange pricing that's opaque and really hard to understand on top of that doesn't work.
Right.
So you can look to a SaaS model and say, well, this is a productivity tool. This AI is really a productivity tool. We'll price it like that. Then people can make that analogy. And I think there's a lot of learning that really quippy new AI products can learn from retail.
Yeah.
And thinking about basic SaaS retail pricing, even if it's one-time buy or something like that. Yeah. Like obviously AI costs are high. You got to figure out how to get the flux in the pricing model. Go with usage rates. Call us. We will work this out. We've done a lot of work on this, but otherwise trust us. Like, this is an example of which, it's a good example of taking a strategy that people understand, they're willing to use. It's well-worn. It makes sense to them. You don't have to reinvent that wheel. Reinvent the product. Yeah. Reinvent the wheel, the workflow.
Yeah.
I guess is my point. So my personal side eye rant over.
And that's
a good example, though.
That speaks
Sarah,
to the risk that the buyer feels that they're taking. Like, are they, risking spending this money and not getting the product that they want? It speaks to, clarity and the worry over this abstract pricing structure versus, being clear, concise, and, the risk and reward is transparent.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I guess our third example would be our pet brands understanding the emotional marketing that maybe B2B businesses should use more.
This is a good one too. Yes, B2B sales and marketing should be more like pet brands. Actually, so full disclosure, we did have and occasionally work with a pet brand called Pet Meds. It's a pet pharmaceutical company. And, part of the work we did with them was shifting that way of thinking about the fact that you can tug because you have this fuzzy animal, particularly if it's a bunny rabbit. Like, we wanted to put as many bunny rabbits, there had to be a bunny on every screen, basically, is how it amounted to, because they're so cute and like everybody loves their pet and it's such an emotional, warm experience. So yeah, that was a funny way, and in the work that we did, reframing that, making sure there was a dog. You're talking about pets being sick, but you also could talk about pets being well. And helping your pet get healthier and having a healthy lifestyle for your pet. And that's one of the things that we found really resonated for people. So that warm, gentle, like, oh, the scruffy dog is catching a ball and I wish my lazy dog would do the same, but he won't leave the couch and it's annoying because I have nowhere to sit. This feels like a marketing side eye. Anyways, the point is, when you think about B2B product marketing and sales, a lot of times we are taught about two things. One is that core concept of, what could happen if you don't do this? If you don't take this action, what would happen? Which is a wonderful sales motivator. It's a great closing tool. If you don't choose our solution, what would you do? Oh, we're going to fail. We're going to go under. We're going to hate ourselves for the rest of our lives. And then there's that personal call to action, which is also often very doom and gloom or very, egocentric. It's like often that doom and gloom, what if, kind of what is personally at stake for you. And I think where it comes about is like that shift in frame. Like, are you going to talk about sick dogs or dogs getting healthier? Are you going to talk about their career falling apart? Or are you going to talk about that buyer and their career exploding, getting better, becoming more efficient, the positive attributes, positive outcomes for them personal motivation, personal marketing and sales is extremely important in B2B. Making that connection. It's not just about financial. It's not just about like growth outcomes, these kinds of things, whatever the OKRs are. It is about more. It is about the buyer, their personal motivation, and what their outcomes are. They'll become famous. They'll become rich. They'll become CEO, and they'll be a fluffy dog at the end. And so that's what we want to make sure we're doing. Drawing that like, that big, warm cuddliness into that. What's in it for me? Yeah. What's in it for me is I get to cuddle my dog for years longer. What's in it for me is people like me and my career is going better. My resume looks better. Yeah. So I think that's a really good example, Sarah. I think there are ways in which you can take not the messaging, but that positioning and how they're using that warmth. You don't have to be a pet company and talk about dogs in a good way. Many good pet companies do. And I think that's the trick. So Thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
It got a little dark in there, but
it was a little.
A little dark. A lot of side-eye, a lot of shade, a lot of darkness. Folks, by the end of this, you're going to feel so warm inside, you're going to want to subscribe.
So I guess the once you can see a pattern, the next question becomes, how do you actually borrow this strategy or tactic without breaking it or without making it not make sense? And the way I do it is through basically a 5-step method for borrowing ideas from any industry. And I'm able to pull ideas outside of a category, whether I'm working with SMBs, B2Bs, creators, consumer brands. It works anywhere and with any business. My method would be 1, observe. 2nd is extract. 3rd step is to map. 4th step is to translate. And the 5th step is to implement. So starting with step number 1, observe the tactic. Start with what's visibly working, a launch format, a content loop, a pricing move, a retention mechanism. The rule here, though, is to not judge or think too hard about it. Just observe it, recognize it, see it. Then move to your second one, which is extracting that underlying strategy. Now, strip the tactic down to its bones. What behavior is this encouraging? What fear, desire, habit is this tapping into? What moment in the buyer's journey does it influence? And if you had to describe this tactic, could you name it without saying the industry or the brand? And if you can't do that, then you haven't fully extracted that tactic yet. Now, once you've extracted, you've observed it, extracted it, now map it to your buyer and map it to your buyers and your context. A strategy only works if the buyer has the same motivation, risk tolerance, and attention span. Ask yourself, where is the buyer stuck? What decisions feels risky to them? What proof do they need before moving forward? So you've been able to take this tactic and this solves this problem. This alleviates this fear. This helps this issue or improves this part of the buyer's world.
I love that because it's almost like, sorry to interrupt quickly, but I was just going to say quickly, you can really train yourself for that
Yeah.
by walking through the world and watching, on YouTube or television or whatever it is you do. Like you're seeing companies and the positioning and messaging and the tactics they're taking and really thinking about it. And that's obviously what we've trained ourselves to do is like constantly be absorbing, but also it's not just like, oh, is that something I want? It's also about like, oh, that's an interesting move or a little side eye, but that's an interesting move. I wonder if that would work in this context.
Yeah. Mhm. And that's where you're ready to translate it for the right conditions. Translation is not replication. So you want to make sure you're not, duplicating or repeating the same words and phrases that this successful strategy is using. The idea is to be able to adjust the timing, when the buyer is most receptive, adjust the stakes, what they stand to gain or lose. You have to adjust for the decision content. Why is this choice being made now? And your proof points, what has to be true before this action feels safe for the buyer. And the goal is to preserve the mechanism, not the actual literal format of the strategy. And now for step 5, you're ready to actually implement it into your story. The final step is narrative. So this tactic will only work if it makes sense inside your brand's story. And we've talked about story and science and all that stuff in former videos. And the implementation needs to feel intentional for the buyer. It needs to reinforce your positioning. It needs to be authentic. It needs to ask, like, would a customer understand why we're doing this? And a good gauge for me is if it feels off to me, if this messaging doesn't really fit quite well, then it's going to feel that way for the buyer. It's off for you, it's off for the buyer. But if it fits, and if you can map it correctly, and if you follow these steps, you can look at a strategy, be able to observe it, extract it, map it, translate it, and then finally implement it into your market.
That's fantastic. Yeah, there's a real template to it. It's not just about thinking through like, oh my God, I want to have a pet in my commercial. I think it's like thinking about that. How do you take the understanding that they're doing? What are they doing with that particular need? And in the commercial, like the pet meds example, what it is a need to see something you love grow healthy in healthy ways. And how are they implementing that into the storyline? There are lots of different examples of that, right? Going back to something as simple as the last one you're saying, translating it into your industry, and how it's not just about thinking through like timing and thinking through structure and would the buyer understand this and stuff like that. We go back to that idea of, pricing strategy, retail versus, AI. I don't think either one of us, and Sarah, please correct me if I'm wrong, would ever say, that buy one, get one free is the right pricing for a SaaS product.
No.
That kind of approach. Those aren't the things, right? 100% guarantee.
Yeah.
100% guarantee. Not sure that makes sense either. Although, Amazon does that a lot, but they're selling physical goods and the guarantee's on the physical good, like the renewed products or whatever. But yeah, I think that's like, not all things are perfect, though you can notice them, understand how it is they work, and then try and apply them to your particular campaign. That makes a lot of sense to do that on the regular. But also kind of as you're doing that translation process, thinking about that story and the positioning, do a real solid gut check, around the criteria Sarah just laid out. Okay, buy one, get one free does not make sense. Having a retail SaaS pricing or an individual SaaS based pricing for something that is usage pricing, like tokens and stuff like that, may make a lot of sense if you can build the right margin into it and handle the usage or lack of usage. I use ChatGPT like nonstop. I'm basically saying absolutely nothing original right now. But what that means is that they're making no money off of me if they start selling it for only $20 a month or something. But anyways, certainly not an enterprise class usage. So I appreciate those things, and we can kind of explicate those over time and sort them out. If you have questions, don't hesitate to put them down in the comments below about any of these steps or examples of how we would do it. And we can go from there. Sarah, did you want to share anything else about this?
No, I guess an overall just wrap up is just to, if you're stuck somewhere, if you can't think of messaging, if you're having trouble moving forward, instead of asking what should we do, start asking what's working somewhere else and why, and how can we apply it to us.
Yeah.
And that shift
awesome.
can change your perspective and trajectory and provide a purposeful way forward.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, that's the way we kind of start it when we get a new project or get a new campaign that we're working on, is saying what has worked. Mm-hmm. What did we do? What have we observed elsewhere? And can we try that here? Yeah. That bit of inspiration, I think, Sarah, your kind of nuance there at the end is an interesting one, in the sense that maybe it's not what you actually use in your go-to-market, but it becomes a source of creativity and an unblocker.
Yeah.
If you say, well, I mean, we just saw this company over there do that. Or even if it's our competitor, mm-hmm. like, what do they know? What are the signals that we can draw from? I mean, that's another thing that we try and bake into all of our competitive analysis, is this concept of signals. Like, we may not, in this particular market analysis, tell you specifically what you should put on your roadmap, but what we will do, and by we, I mean Posture, what we will do is unpack, using this almost exact framework, unpack what all of your competitors are doing and tell you signals about their market strategy, product strategy, positioning, pricing, and any traction they're getting around that. So then you can also do things like say, okay, well, now I really can evaluate these other tactics from other players, from other industries, see what's working and what's not. That's part of the service that we provide, as I said. So if you are thinking through a go-to-market strategy, we'd love to sit down with you, work on the strategy with you, and pair that with you and build out the plan, right down to tactics and execution. If you're trying to understand the broader context and what you want to invest in or where you should be investing and those kinds of things, we do market landscape and can help you with this. But these five strategies that Sarah just laid out are a great tool for you to use, be it as an individual contributor, a product marketer, or a strategist trying to figure out what would work in your toolkit, what would work on your assignment or on your turf, or if you're an executive, a product leader, or a marketing leader, saying, what kind of fresh new ideas can we be bringing in, and how can I frame the way that my team is thinking about it? So this is good stuff. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing focus to this topic. We appreciate that. All right. Thank you all for watching and listening today. As Sarah said, what we do at Posture is work with companies on these types of things. And we will use this exact template, if not something very close, when we're doing competitive analysis. We may not, if prompted to do so, provide you with specific things to put on your roadmap. But what we do is use this template to tear down competitors, what they're doing, what their signals are, signals around what their pricing strategy is, signals about traction, signals about product, roadmap, overall corporate strategy. We do that by walking back these 5 steps and other industries. So when we come back to you, you can look at this and make some decisions around. We also do it as a formal part of our go-to-market strategy. So if you want to work with us and we can work on your strategy for a new product or a new launch or a new market entry. Also, the tactical playbook and execution on that. We'll start with this. What have we learned, or what could we learn from other industries or other examples in this market? If you are an individual contributor and you liked this kind of concept and see the way that it could fit into your toolkit, how it can help you on your particular projects right now, definitely like, subscribe, and share it. If you are a product leader or a marketing leader and you look at this and say, wait a second, this is a framing that I can use to provide to my teams to help them get some new, fresh thinking, or to help unblock them as they're doing their own planning and strategy, please subscribe, like, and share this. In the meantime, we're going to continue to be Posture. This is a slightly shorter format than we traditionally do. We're doing our own A/B testing around it. So let us know in the comments if you like the longer version or the shorter version. Hopefully we'll get you all the content and all the insight you want in either one. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye.